What is good, fam? It's your girl Natalie, the Keto Bikini Pro, back with another episode of The Comeback. Oh my gosh, I have a lot to fill you in on. I think I did a 14-week update last, so it's been about a month. I am almost 9 weeks out, so this will be a 10-week/9-week out update. And I had to rewatch my last video because I know I was talking about some things that were getting ready to happen. I was anticipating, and I had my my kind of guesses of what my coach was about to tell me, and I had to go back and refresh my memory of what exactly I said so I could go back and update you on all of that, and then the latest. So going back to the last episode, I was talking about expecting a refeed. We were looking for the next drop on the scale, and I believe this is when I was sitting at like 116, 117 on the scale and hadn't gotten underneath 116 yet. Sure enough, my refeed came. I listened to coach. I'm thinking this was right before I went to Atlanta. It may have actually even been before that. Basically hit the refeed. After the refeed, did just what we wanted it to do. I got that drop on the scale, got down into the 115 point something on the scale, and then I was hovering there again for a little while. This is a very normal way that fat loss works for everyone, not just in prep, but you kind of hit this new low and you kind of hover and hang out there for a little bit before it drops again. So this is why I always tell women like not to freak out about the scale. It's all part of the process. It will go day to day, up and down, up and down, up and down, and then I just take my averages. So since that drop, I had my trip to Atlanta. We went down there to clean out my storage unit, rent a U-Haul, and bring all my furniture up here. So got a little facelift in here. I now have my little awards from past shows up here. You see my vision board behind me, which I may or may not have had up before. I think I did have that up here. But brought some of the comforts of home up to Maryland, and Bronson is getting used to the girly things around, rugs and pillows and candles and all the nice things that make life a little bit sweeter. So I'm feeling very cozy and happy at home now. But let me tell you a little bit about what happened while we were in Atlanta, what training and cardio and all that looked like while we were there and doing the move. Because obviously I couldn't be training on the days that we're moving furniture and we're driving a U-Haul. So I'll fill you in on all that. And then the latest physique update is, if you can tell, I mean, I'm looking at the camera like I look freaking pumped. So it's exciting to see this. I haven't gone to the gym yet today either. This is I've had one meal today. I'm now sipping my matcha protein shake latte. Trying not to do more than my morning coffee. Afternoon, I don't want to be drinking coffee afternoon. So if I'm craving more coffee, which I have been the last few days, this is the first day I've had a matcha in a little while. So I was really craving a matcha, made a little latte, and then added some strawberry equipped protein powder, half a scoop. So it's not a full protein shake, but I turned it into an iced matcha with some protein in it. We can talk a little bit about food too, what I've been doing differently lately. But the big news is this morning I got my latest drop on the scale. I had been hovering for, like I said, a few weeks in the 115s, and then it would go up to 116 point something, 117 again, go back down to the 115s, but I wasn't getting underneath 115. So the lowest it got, I think, was right before or while I was in Atlanta. It had come down to 115.0, and I was like, I want that 114.9, which really is ridiculous, right? Because we're talking 0.1 of a pound. Like, doesn't really mean that much, but you know, there's a psychological thing when you just get underneath that number you want to get under. So It happened this morning. Literally, here's a funny story. I tell y'all, keep it real all the time here. I got on the scale this morning. It was like 114.9, 115.1. It was like going back and forth between the two before it settled on one, and it settled on 115.1, and I was like, oh, heck no. So I got off the scale. I felt a little gassy, a little bloated. So I did some stretches, you know, like in yoga, they actually have a stretch called the wind relieving pose. What do you think that does? So I relieved a little bit of the bloat, if you know what I mean, and got back on the scale, and just a couple minutes later, boom, 114.9. So releasing some of that bloat, some of that gas, that's all it is, ladies, just gas trapped in your gut, made that happen. So I'm pretty happy about that. Also, my coach is thrilled with my physique and how it's coming along. I sent him my latest update. I did pictures on Monday, sent that to him yesterday or Tuesday night, one of those two. Got his feedback yesterday, late last night, and he was just flipping about my physique. He was just like, look at those lines, we're seeing this, we're seeing that. He took my posing video and he just like told me all the great things he's seeing and things that I can do to just show it off even better. So really, really excited. We're seeing lines we haven't seen. I'll put those in. I'll put the videos in at the end of this video so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, just really, really thrilled about the way my physique is coming along. We truly are going to be unrecognizable. This is going to be a new physique I've never had before. Best conditioning ever. Best muscle maturity, muscle mass ever. So yeah, I'm just really thrilled about what we're about to reveal in the next 9 weeks. So to give you the stats, the numbers, my current average, I just plugged in the numbers from this morning, the lowest numbers that I've had, just so I can see what my averages would look like this week. So it's interesting, when I look at that, my average is now 115.7 for the last 5 days, because I still have a couple more days in this week. Previous weeks, the average was sitting in the 116s. So like I said, we get so focused on that lowest number we saw on the scale, right? So I've been focused on this. I want to get under 115 on the scale. And yes, I got under 115 on the scale today. That doesn't mean that that's my average weight. That doesn't mean that that's my weight. So when we talk about what is our weight is not the number we see today in this moment on the scale. Our weight is truly an aggregate of where we have been in the last 7 days, 14 days, 30 days. That's a better indicator of where we're actually sitting than just looking at one particular moment in time. So I would not say that my weight is now 114.9. My weight is on average over the last week 115.7. So that is still down a pound from where it was before. The last couple weeks it had been sitting at 116 point something. My body fat percentage has been hovering about the same, anywhere from 117 to 119. So right now the average is at 117, I meant to say, between 17 and 19%. So right now my average is 18.6% body fat. If you're looking at me and saying, no way you're 18%, that's too high, you must be much lower than that. This is what I always try to get women to understand. Women who are freaking out about being 24% body fat or 26% body fat and they think they're so fat. That is not high. 24 to 26% is not high. That is average and that is normal and that is healthy for a woman. When we're talking about getting to 30% and more, now you have something to be concerned about. If you're sitting at 18% and you think you need to lose a whole bunch of body fat, here's an example. This is 18%, guys. This is 18%, and this is on the InBody at-home system, but also when I've compared the InBody numbers to my DEXA numbers, when I was getting my DEXA numbers, it was within 1 to 2 percentage points. So if I went and got a DEXA, it would probably be very similar. to this. So when you hear women talking about their 12% body fat, their 14% body fat, that is likely on a different kind of scale that is taking out the pounds of essential fat you have to have on your body, in your brain, around your organs, protecting your organs, not the visceral fat that is around your organs that's unhealthy or a marker of poor health. But the fat we have to have on our body. Most of these scales that measure bioelectrical impedance, which you can get at your gym, the handheld devices, those kinds of things, usually take that out of the mix. So if that was the case, my DEXA technician has told me before that's about 5 to 6% for me. I would probably be sitting around 12 or 13% body fat on maybe one of those scales. So if you're hearing 18 and you're freaking out, I'm not freaking out by it. It doesn't bother me. It's just another metric. It's just another type of testing that's explaining it in the way that it's explaining it. I'm not going to get upset at the technology. It hasn't changed what my body looks like. I'm happy with the way my body looks. So let's not get neurotic about these numbers. I do have a video about body fat testing, so check that one out. I'll link that below so you can go check out that video if you want more understanding about how the different types of body fat testing measure you, so you know what to expect, you have realistic expectations going in, and it doesn't freak you out. So let's talk about actual pounds. That means I have 21.5 pounds of body fat on my body on average. The lowest I've seen on the scale, because the body fat will like jump around too, and I know that that is based on fluid balance day to day. So some days it's telling me I'm 17% body fat, some days it's telling me I'm 18 or 19%. So that will change the calculation of what it says your actual body fat mass number in pounds is. So the average right now is 21.5. I've seen it saying 20 point something. I think my lowest was 19 point something. No big deal. We're just gonna take the average, 21.5. That means if you take that out of my total, which is 115.7, then my lean body mass is sitting at 94.2 pounds on the scale. That's just lean body mass. That's everything but body fat. Lean body mass basically means fat-free mass. The rest of your body, that includes fluids, organs, bones, everything else. If we're just looking at skeletal muscle mass, my in-body system gives me a number for that, and my average right now is sitting at 52.8, which is beautiful because this entire prep, y'all, that means I have not lost muscle mass. That is huge, okay? In bodybuilding, the whole goal is to build muscle continuously in the off-season and in prep, and maintain it, especially in prep when we're in a deficit and we're losing body fat. We want to maintain that muscle mass. Most traditional bodybuilders and those in the space will say you're always going to lose muscle mass on a cut. When you're in a prep and you're cutting calories and you're cutting body fat, you're always going to lose muscle mass. That's just part and parcel of the game. And these same people are saying you need to eat carbs to preserve muscle mass. I have not lost a single pound of muscle in my entire prep doing this with a ketogenic carnivore approach. I do not need carbs to maintain my muscle mass. Matter of fact, I would say I'm maintaining my muscle mass better than competitors that are consuming carbs. There's many different reasons for that, but one in particular is that on keto, you don't need as much cardio. So a lot of these competitors that are doing high carb diets are also doing a lot of cardio. So they are just spinning their wheels with this energy thing. They're putting the energy in, they're taking it out. They're putting in all these calories with carbs to give them energy, then they're dumping the calories with the cardio that they're doing. Cardio burns muscle, y'all. Cardio is gonna burn through your muscle faster than strength training. So we have prioritized strength training. My cardio hasn't been a lot. That's getting ready to change. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I think that all of that has to do with why I've been able to maintain muscle mass so well this prep. So I would love to get to stage and not lose any muscle mass. That's the goal. Okay, so we're really happy with what we're seeing physique-wise lately. Macros. There have been no changes in my macros still. Since I got my new coach, we cut fat once, and then I've been on the same macros ever since. For months now, I've been on the same macros, and it's working, so we don't need to change anything. He keeps saying he doesn't want to cut my food anymore. It's already pretty low. If I told you my calories, you would all freak out because everybody says nobody should ever be under 1,300 calories. But I am 4'11 3/4, just barely 5 feet, if even that. I'm 115 pounds. You just heard my stats. Like, this stuff is context dependent, guys. And I'm on prep, right? This is not like everyday life. So in my off season, I will get back up to 2,500 calories. I was sitting around 2,500 calories, maintaining well at a higher body fat percentage there. So I will get my calories back up in the off season, but right now we're in the building season. But right now we are 9 weeks out. I'm 115 pounds, 18% body fat, and my calories are 1,290. So right around 1,300. I've been going slightly over, so 1,300 and some change. So that sounds really low to most people, but it's not terribly low for me. I actually feel really good. I haven't been starving. I communicate with my coach. He's like, listen, you're gonna feel hunger. This is where things get tough, but you shouldn't be starving. Tell me if you're starving and we'll deal with that. Okay, so the other thing we've been doing is incorporating refeeds. So this actually increases my calories one day every 10 days. We've been doing them. And that's gonna bump up my overall averages for the week. So I do have my numbers here because I wanted to be able to give you an example. So if you look at my actual macros that I'm nailing on a daily basis, it's 115 grams of protein, 15 grams of total carbs because I'm doing a carnivore style diet. My carbs are coming from coffee, eggs, my protein powders might have 1 or 2, my creamers that I use for my coffee might have a couple of carbs, and then whatever's in whatever meats I'm eating. So carbs are very minimal, usually around the 10 gram mark on higher weeks. If I'm fitting in some dark chocolate or something, then they might go up to like 16 or even 20, but that's like total. And then fat has been at 70 grams. So this is what it's been for quite a while. That makes my total calories 1,290. Now, here's an example of how a refeed changes that. So let me look at my last refeed day. Okay, so let's see. So on the 10th, I had a refeed. And he was giving me, for my refeeds, I get anywhere from 15 to 25 grams of extra fat, which is going to add a good 150 to 200 calories. So my last refeed day, I did 97 grams of fat instead of the 70 that I normally do. My calories on that day were 1,536. Whereas the rest of that week, they were around that 1,290 to 1360 was like my highest otherwise. Everything else was in the 12s and low 13s. So my average for that week was 1,334. So just a small bit above. The week before average was 1,336, 1,326 the week before that. So you can see, like, with the refeed, it doesn't significantly change my calories for the average calories for the week, but it does bump up one day by a couple hundred calories, and it gives me that extra energy for my body to recover better, for my hormones to balance a little better, for my body to just feel like, okay, we're good. We don't need to adapt our metabolism and slow down our metabolism. We're not starving. We're going to be okay. So that's essentially what a refeed does. It's also a great little psychological trick to keep yourself progressing when things are getting tough. You're like, okay, you know what? I know I only have to go another 10 days, my coach calls it, in the hole, and I know I'm going to get another refeed, and then I can live it up a little bit on my refeed day and feel really good and get really good pumps the next couple of days before I start going like into the hole again, energy-wise. So that's really the purpose of a refeed. Getting ready to do a whole refeed masterclass in my group. So if you're not yet in my Keto Bikini Secrets Facebook group, the link is in the description below. I would love to have you in the tribe. It's not just for competitors. I'm actually thinking about changing the name of the group to make it a little more inclusive of all women on a ketogenic, carnivore, low carb diet for general health, weight loss, fat loss, body composition, all the things. Basically for strong, empowered women on keto. So in that group, I do master classes every Monday night. This past Monday, I plan to do a master class on cheat meals versus refeeds. What's the difference? I ended up going deep into the psychology of cheat meals, cheating in general as it relates to your diet. So that was a deep one, and so I have to do a part 2 on the refeeds. So next Monday, join me in the masterclass. If you're watching this before Monday, October 4th, 5th, 3rd, first week of October 2022, join me for that masterclass. And if not, join the group and ask for the replay, and I share the replays in the group exclusively. So that being said, there's the numbers of those averages. All right, so last time I did a refeed when I was in Atlanta, it was my sister's birthday. We went to a Brazilian steakhouse. So I went over and above. I just know I estimated as best I could, but I just know I ate all the steak. So it was fantastic. And that trip was the best trip home I've had with no binges. I loosened up my carnivore diet a little bit, but I tracked everything. So, you know, some days I might have had some nuts and seeds or some olives or some dark chocolate. But I tracked it all. I maintained really solidly, stayed on point with nutrition, training, cardio. My mother was amazing and went out and bought like all the meats we could want. So I had all the foods I needed at home. That one Brazilian steakhouse was the only time we dined out that whole time. So it was really easy to just maintain and keep things moving in the right direction. At the end of that trip is when we were moving. So the last 4 days, Friday, Saturday, we were loading up the U-Haul truck, unloading the storage unit, and then driving back to Maryland. And then Sunday and Monday was unloading the U-Haul truck, moving into the apartment, and moving into a new storage unit up here. So really it was a lot of work on the body, more for Bronson than me, but I was lifting some things as well and getting things organized in here. And so I was exhausted after that. So took a rest day and then got back on track with the training last Wednesday, I believe, last Wednesday was my refeed, my last refeed. So hot topics, my last refeed went beautiful. No Brazilian steakhouse this time. It was much more dialed in than the one in Atlanta. And we were looking for the next drop on the scale. This is when I was expecting to see that getting under 115. I was so close. Really great refeed, really great. Next morning, had a fantastic breakfast. Was getting ready to go to the gym, and y'all, I hate that I even have to say this, but I binged. First time, and I can't even think of when my last binge was. I've had maybe a handful, less than a handful, this whole entire year. And this just came out of the blue. It was like, there was no indication that anything was brewing. I was happy. The refeed went so well. I was like so excited, because usually it's not the day after the refeed, it's 2 days after the refeed when I get like this insane pump and we see all these changes and I'm feeling amazing. And I mean, I was totally satiated. I had just had like an extra 20 grams of protein or fat the day before. So it doesn't make any sense why I would binge. I'm doing a whole separate video for you on the binge, on all of my post-mortem analysis of what happened, why I believe it happened. It has, and what I told my coaches, that this had nothing to do with body image, with prep, with feeling deprived or restricted or hungry or anything like that. I really think it was a mental, emotional, spiritual thing that had to do with other things in life. So I'm going to do a whole separate video going into depth on that and sharing my tips for how I pulled myself right back out of it, got right back on track, and ever since haven't had a blip. So in the last, and that was a last Thursday. So now today's Thursday. So it's been a full week, right back dialed in ever since. Got my drop on the scale, like solid. We are back like it never happened, but it did happen, and that's a key part of what I'm going to share in that video. We cannot just skate by these things and pretend they didn't happen and act like everything is fine. So I'm going to talk about it all on that video. You can look forward to that one, and when it's done, I will link that below as well. I think that's going to be a powerful one for anyone who struggles with binge eating. Okay, but all that to say that in the long run, as you can see, when that doesn't become a habit, when we nip it in the bud and keep moving and move forward, it doesn't have to impact anything. My biggest frustration is that it happened in the first place, and that it essentially did take me out of the game for a week, because when you didn't take me out of the game in terms of my nutrition, my training, all of that, like I said, went right back on track the next day. But the numbers wise, I do want to share this. That binge day, I went back and calculated, estimated as best I could, absolutely everything I consumed. Just went back through my mind and just decided, okay, let's add all of this into Cartometer, track it, and see where I likely landed with calories and macros that day. So essentially, it was like double the fat I would normally eat. So many carbs. Protein was about the same as what I normally would have in a day, but carbs were like 10x'd. 160 grams of carbs, 150 fat, which makes my calories about 2,600 for that day. That's double my normal daily calories. And that's with estimating. It's entirely possible it could have been more than that. But when I look at the averages for that week, now the average calories, instead of being 1,300 on average, were 1,500 on average. The cool thing about that is realizing how small that is in the grand scheme of things. If I was sitting in the binge eater's brain, and particularly the bulimic brain, which goes, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Now I have to do all this compensation to fix it. Extra cardio and cut calories even more and fast, which is another term for starving yourself, y'all. I have strong opinions about fasting. But had I done too much to try to compensate, probably would have binged again. And then those numbers would be wildly impacted, and I wouldn't have gotten the progress I got. Getting right back on track kept it in check to where the average calories went up by maybe 200. And now this week, right back to regular, and I saw a new drop on the scale. So we can come back from these things stronger, better. I mean, I tell you what, my mind is so sharp now that this ain't gonna happen again between now and the show. And after the show, either, because I'm committing to staying super connected to my coach and Bronson and my support systems in life. So all that, that's like a mini taste of what I'll share in the binge episode. But that's just to share the numbers. All right, let's get back to just kind of what's happening now. So, all right, the one change that's happening with training. We're gonna continue on with this every 10 days refeeds. So excited about that, because these are kind of like a mini peak week. How am I gonna peak for show? So that's what we use those for, to see how we can peak my body and get it into the best condition for show. So I'm excited. I'll share the next refeed story with you and how that goes. with no Brazilian steakhouse and no post-refeed binges. All right, so training and cardio. Training has still not changed. I'm on my same split, same workouts, but coach dropped the bomb that we are increasing cardio. Here's where the rubber hits the road, fam. I did hot yoga on Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday, my workouts kicked my ass. They were just terrible. I felt like I had no energy. I had nothing to give. So I struggled through it, got it done, got something done. Yesterday, I finally had a really good workout again, had a leg day, and it was awesome. So really happy about that. When I hop off of here, I'm gonna go do, it's chest and arms today. Because my arm workout sucked so bad, I cut it in half earlier this week. I'm gonna add the rest of it to my chest day. Matcha, matcha, matcha. Okay, and today is the first day of increased cardio. So my cardio up until now has been HIIT training post-workout, immediately post-workout, which means, as I shared in my last prep update, I was gonna start moving my training to the mornings. I haven't been consistent with that, with the traveling and everything. Schedules got kind of off again. So one of the things that I am dialing in from here on out is lifestyle, schedule, rest, prioritizing my mental, emotional, and spiritual needs, which was a big eye-opener after the binge of I haven't been doing my meditation, I haven't been doing the things that sustain me as a 360-degree wellness, you know, my own personal wellness, self-care, and all of that. So those are the things I'm focusing on moving forward. I need to move my workouts to the morning and do that consistently because I need to do the first half of my cardio immediately post-workout, HIIT training, and then add LISS, low intensity, steady state cardio, later in the day or in the evening. So no fasted cardio. I did that for a little bit and I had no energy. My recovery was terrible. So my coach does not like that for me. And so he wants me to do it as like a burnout post workout. So with that being the case, really the only time and the best time to get the best workout is going to be in the mornings. So you can hold me accountable to that. And in my next update video, I should be telling you that that's what I've been doing. Okay. So final thoughts. Someone recently asked me why I compete. And here's my number one reason for it. My absolute number one goal in life, vision for my life, is to be a full participant in my life. Not an observer who just sits on the sidelines and watches life go by. So competing as an athlete for me and going pro and competing as a pro athlete for me is a way to challenge myself beyond the norm and not allow myself to get comfortable and complacent in life and just do the day-to-day and let that be enough. I'm obsessed with growth and development as a person, personal growth and development, professional growth and development, showing up and being fully alive and present in my life and for the people that I have the pleasure and the blessing of touching in this life. So I love a challenge. I love things that challenge me, and that's what competing does for me. If it wasn't competing in bodybuilding, and if I move on from bodybuilding, eventually it's going to be something else. That's just who I am, and it's tied deeply to my identity, which is one of the things that keeps me going in this lifestyle. This healthy lifestyle is tying it to my identity. So this next 9 weeks is going to be a game changer, mentally as well as physically. I'm really getting into reminding myself what it really means to be a pro athlete, especially taking my body to places it's never been before. So I'm loving the way this prep is going. We're going nice and slow so that I can prioritize my 360-degree health. It's beautiful because I don't have to do anything drastic and we don't have a whole lot left to lose. Every little bit is going to just be really exciting and amazing to see where we go from here. So everything will be dialed in down to my recovery and my mental wellness going forward. Regular massages, I'm booking one for Sunday. That was coach's orders. It has been a little while since I've had one of those. I used to get them every 2 weeks when I was competing. I've cut back to more like every 4 to 6 weeks. So now I'll be putting those back in every 2 to 3 weeks. Absolutely must do my daily meditation, journaling, self-connection time, to dig deep on what might be lying under the surface that needs to be addressed so that it does not present itself in unhealthy ways. Date nights with Bae, and not just, the two of us can get so focused on work, our businesses, and training and eating and all that. And so having some date nights, getting out, enjoying the fall in Maryland, which is beautiful. And then I'm putting in a new habit, which is reading at night, reading a physical book at night, which I haven't done in a while. But I don't like the late night Netflix, feeling like a couch potato and then just going to sleep after that, particularly also trying to dial in my last meal time of the day and not let it be so close to bedtime. It's always when my digestion suffers the most, when I don't feel good in my body, and I want to feel great in my body as much of the time as possible. That's what this is all about. So the new book I'm geeking out on currently is Janine Roth's Women, Food, and God. Oh my gosh, I will talk more about this book when I do the binge episode, because it ties into binge eating, obsessive compulsive disorders, and things of that nature. So she's amazing. Absolutely loving it. If you're in my group, we may be doing some sort of a book study soon, or book club or something, because I'm geeking over it. And all right, this is becoming a longer video than I thought, but I do want to talk about this. My cycle should be starting, my period should be starting today, tomorrow, in the next couple of days. My cycles have been shorter and shorter, 21 to 23 days. I've been working with my naturopath for a while to balance out my hormones. I have like more estrogen. A lot of women are estrogen dominant, me included. So we're trying to even out my estrogen progesterone balance. I will be going in for blood work this month, the month of October, to test, get a full hormone panel and see what's going on there. So I'm hoping that everything will be normal, but I'm also hoping that my cycles will lengthen back out to a 28-day cycle. And I'm hoping to reduce some of the terrible symptoms. At this point, I'm not on birth control. I haven't been on hormonal birth control for over 10 years. But I have 2 really bad days of terrible cramps, horrible back pain, body aches. It can really feel like the flu. Like I'm totally knocked out. I get facial hormonal acne around my neck, chin, chest. So far, the only symptoms I've experienced in this last week of my luteal phase have been a little bit of irritability, which I'm present to. I've been more present to the last few months, but that's a telltale sign. A little bit of breaking out here, not a whole lot yet. But so far, and my digestion starts to slow down. I get a little bit of impaired digestion. I definitely noticed that yesterday. So that's I know it's coming. Hopefully it'll come. I'll have a few more days before it starts, which tells me my cycle is lengthening out. But other things coming up, no more travel until November. So the entire month of October, we will be here. I'm thrilled about that because I can just focus on training, eating, getting into a really optimal schedule, optimizing everything, dialing everything in. And then November, the first weekend in November, November 5th, we are hosting a Mid-Atlantic Meetup, M-E-A-T, at the Modern Stone Age Kitchen in Chestertown, Maryland, on the Eastern Shore, benefiting Eastern Shore Food Lab. Dr. Bill Schindler, Sally Norton's going to be there, Dr. Hussey's going to be there, me and Coach Bronson are going to be there. It's going to be a blast. So if you are on the East Coast or you want to fly out and just connect with some keto, paleo, carnivore, ancestral, meat-based peeps, we're going to be carving up a pig. We're going to be having some good discussion. We have some great sponsors with some incredible food. It's going to be a homemade, authentic taco dinner. So we would love to have you there. I will post the link below for where you can get your tickets for that. And then Coach Bronson and I are hosting our first couples retreat in Destin, Florida, November 10th through the 13th. We have a Airbnb on the beach, and it will be a very intimate space, us and just a few couples. We have 3 more spots left for that. I will drop that link below as well. And that is going to be for you and your partner. If one of you is on this lifestyle, or if both of you are on this lifestyle, you've been thinking about doing a low carb lifestyle, but you haven't even gotten into it yet, we're really going to be going deep on some practical things. We're going to cook together. We're going to just build community and be there for each other. And it's really kind of a getaway for couples to spend some time with each other and to spend time with other couples who are on this lifestyle and get some coaching from us on how you can best support your partner through this lifestyle. So we'd love to have you there. We are celebrating our 1-year anniversary on October 15th. That's the day we met at Keto Expo in Vegas last year. So that's coming up. We'll do something special for that, and I'm sure I'll share about it on my social medias. Otherwise, that's it for now, and I'll catch y'all in the next update, probably a 8 weeks out update. That was a long-winded video, but lots of details to share. So thank you again, as always, to all of you who are following along with my journey and offering support, and I'm so grateful for you all. If you have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you always know when my next video is coming out. And without further ado, here's the posing and physique update, and I'll catch you next time.